Well, hello, and welcome back to the tower. It's a little close, don't you think? It's a little close, so let's get everything set up. Okay, we don't have enough for that. I'm researching something that is a reason. What we're going to do is... Okay, we'll do that. Come back here, switch the tournament mode, come back here, switch this back. We can switch it back after the fact, so... Alright, that's set up. Put the tournament cards on. What kind of tournament did we get? We got a tournament. We can use our project. We're going to fund this one. And we're going to use our Dimension Core. And so tournament cards. I wish there was a setting for modules. That'd be nice. And yes, we're done. And we're in. You thought it was too late, didn't you? Unfortunately, I didn't finish these. So, just squeaking by right at the end, all according to plan. That's how it goes. Today was simply not the best day for me, but, you know, it's always challenging when I have to stream after work. It's not like I'm just sitting around doing nothing. I have to be doing stuff at work. So... Wow, nobody's made it. I think everybody has thought that I had... Oh, hey, Ghetto, how you doing? Oh, that's weird. Didn't show you here, Ghetto. That's very strange. And thank you, Ghetto, for the good luck. You remembered. I'm a last-minute man. What can I say? I had to get everything set up first. Alright, so now almost everything's set up. Yeah, it was a little close. It was a little close. I actually don't know when I actually started the tournament. Hey, Genesis, how you doing? Hey, New, how you doing? Really? Wow. I guess that July Stone Pack really helped some people out. How's your mom doing, New? Bounce Web? What's Bounce Web? Oh, so I was supposed to use Pulsar Harvester. Well, it's too late for that. Oh, I still have time. I have 2 minutes. We're just going to go with project funding. It's fine. Okay, we might be able to get fourth. That's good. We're going to see if this project gets funded, boys. I did have to make some changes and shift some stuff around. Oh, okay, I need CF+. Wow, congrats, Ghetto. What do you mean, you've only been doing event boost, new? Hey, Henrik, how you doing? And there we go. The tournament is officially closed. Wait, how does it make tournament runs take 10 or more hours? I must not understand. I am a little slow sometimes. Oh, they still haven't. I was hoping this patch fixed attack speed. Is that not true? I didn't think about the attack speed thing. That's my bad. I know. I'm glad to hear your mom's okay. Hey, Vincent, how you doing? All right, Henrik, that sounds awful, and they need to nerf it because that's just terrible. $5,700. Yeah, they made a back end patch, which is what I do. So I'm like, oh, what'd they change? Hopefully something good. Wait, you went to work and had dinner and it wasn't done? All right, that's like what was in the okay, obviously they didn't fix the attack speed thing. Wow. This sounds terrible. You guys are going to sleep and still doing the run? And you never know because of the wow, that's just awful. Oh, okay, the update didn't change anything. So the update's not the update's not really a helpful update. It's just some back end stuff. Wow. Well, oh man, I can't buy the workshop upgrades. Damn. I wanted to see if I could get the magic cube. I thought the main thing was improving the store. Because you know the store is the most important part of any video game. Because if the store doesn't work, it's a crisis. Because the first line is improved back-end purchasing system. That's the most important thing about this game, guys. If the back-end purchasing system doesn't work, what are we playing this game for? Also, I wonder what analytics they're looking at. It's been a lot of games. It wasn't D4. D4, like if it was any game, it would have been Diablo Immortal. But the store was never broken in Diablo Immortal because you never launched Diablo Immortal with, without a store. I mean, absolute worst case, Omega, I would say something in the Discord, be like, hey, I ran out of time. I just had to send the tournament. It was close because I had work and stuff like that. It's all good. Things happen. I understand that not every time everything works out. There's always the good news is, guys, there's always another tournament. So we don't ever have to worry. There's always going to be another tournament. Yeah, that's because that's just Chain Lightning in general. I did enjoy reading somebody's post about how, after the first of the month, I'm not doing as well in tournaments again. And I was like, yeah. Let me guess who didn't buy those stone packs. And then somebody immediately disagreed with me, and they're like, fifth to 10th place, you shouldn't have to buy any stone packs. It's just about playing the game correctly. Yeah, if anything happens, what's going to happen is that PH is just going to get nerfed and changed into something else or capped. Hey, Swift, how you doing? I mean, I don't know what they like. So first, the big issue is always going to be the attack speed until that gets fixed. So I don't know. They thought they almost fixed it. But then the second thing is likely you just cap it, right? Like, if it's getting too strong, you would cap it, but, you know, first you have to fix attack speed, in my opinion. Right, but Omega, the whole thing is we don't want to encourage builds that run at 1x. Like that's to me is terrible gameplay to make it so if you decide to make your tournament take 5 times as long, you get a better result. That's just terrible. That's a horrible game design. Because then basically it's like, okay, what? I can't agree with this, Omega, because at least in the way that it's being used right now. Hey, Shinobis, how you doing? Like, I don't mind it making it easier to advance tiers. But when you make it so ridiculously OP, and you make it so you run... Like all those things, like, don't make sense to me. Like, I don't mind a module for pushing, but it's just like Henrik's, it's not balanced with the rest of the modules. But also, I need to have Chrono Field to take advantage of it, right? Like, I can't use this to push. I'm not saying the emergent gameplay is bad, but I'm saying it's just overpowered. When one thing overpowers everything else, then it's just yeah, but the only trick you need is to max CF and CL, and then you just win. And then that's what I'm concerned about, right? Well, I'm not really concerned. It just means that okay, now the way to play the game is max CF, max CL. Not in the tournament, Known. Otherwise, I'd be doing better. Hey, Known, how you doing? I should be good. Actually, I think I'm already 4th place. I don't think I'm going to get higher than 4th place in the tournament. That's what I was basically saying, Omega. It just needs a cap. I mean, to me, the whole problem is if somebody can win the tournament by running their tournament at 1x speed, it just makes it terrible. That to me is just a terrible game design. I mean, Swift, it certainly is part of the problem. It's a game issue. But also, like, I feel like one build shouldn't overshadow everything in the game to such an extent. Like, obviously, we need to fix the 10-meter tape problem. That's a given. Yeah, that's a million times. It's ridiculous. That's so broken. All right, well, let's wait a minute, Virus. We'll get to the problem shortly here. I have a feeling it's going to happen in a minute. I would like it to happen organically. It's soon, obviously. I'm not. I think Omega. It's not a question of how long. It's more a question of how much. Like once this was discovered, how many? Because remember, they just added. So realistically, this build became possible 4 months ago. Okay. Because that's when we added CF14. So, it's a question of how many months of stones does it take to get to the point where you can do the build. Oof. Wait, how did you lose your spotlight angels and all that? Did you not do the secret? I mean, but you know you're supposed to like save the previous and then couldn't you? But you could save the previous, right? So you didn't have to give it up if you didn't get everything you wanted. Yeah, you don't have to take new. Oh. You don't have CL Plus? I don't think anybody likes the module system new except for the developer. Oh, I was not paying attention. Well, um, hmm. Well, I guess now is as good a time as any. A lot of it too, I would take is that. Well, wait, you have CF12 ghetto? I didn't realize you had CF12 ghetto. Are you gonna go all the way to 14? Oh, there isn't. Oh, there is no 14. Oh, my bad. I thought they all went to 14 now. That's clearly my bad. Oh, congrats, Omega. Oh, Mike's. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Yeah, well, this is my tower train. There you go. Hey, Luke, how you doing? So, what stream did you guys leave to find mine? Oof. How do you have your ultimate weapons turned off? Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with Spartan or tags. Oh, it's good to see a lot of people streaming, though. Oh, okay. Where's Spartan at in the game? Wait, nobody asked me the question. Why did nobody ask the question? Oh, wait, I already disappointed SAR, too, on top of everything. Hold on. It was a little chaotic today. There we go. Somebody's actually made it to test it? Oh, okay, Mike. I just never turn things off. I know the dilemma, because once you turn things off, then you have to remember to turn them back on. Oh, did you snipe SAR? Oh, congrats, Mike. I heard this is a PB run for a lot of people. Nobody's asking the question, what's going on? We almost had the question earlier. I wanted to wait until it actually happened. Man. Wait, what's going on in the world now? What did I miss? Well, Shinobi, imagine you have a 10-meter table. And on one side of the 10-meter table, And you're on one side of the 10-meter table. Now, between frames, you're moving 11 meters. So on one frame, you're on one side of the table. On the next frame, you're on the other side of the table, and you completely avoid the collision with the table. Now, if you reduce the game speed to half, now you're moving 5.5 meters between frames. So on one frame, you're on one side of the table. On the next frame, you're in the middle of the table. And then the game is forced to resolve the collision between you and the table. And also, it makes sure your attack speed works too, because that's another thing. That's what we were looking for. I'm confused. I'm confused about the news. Oh, that. Yeah, I saw that. It's a shame that we let the weather become so unfunded that happened. Well, yeah, I didn't, I don't take any joy in that kind of stuff. Yeah, Virus, I did finally. You missed it. You missed your chance. Shinobi's asked me just 3 minutes ago. Oh, that's unfortunate. So you have to watch me on silent? Oh, I forgot to. Sorry, I got distracted. There we go, we're back. Oh, okay, virus. But yeah, the 10-meter table problem now also affects attack speed, so it's more and more. Well, the problem is a lot of people are angry and they misdirect that anger. It's... Oh, oops, it's almost... hold on, we have to deal with the very special time. Whoops. The problem, Omega, is the Republican Party has just passed a bill that will legitimately hurt a lot of people. There's a lot of people that will lose Medicaid access, SNAP, that really should have those benefits, right? They're working, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They shouldn't have to jump through all these hoops to get these benefits. And so there's a lot of people that are mad about that are going to say things like that because there's it's called Schradenfeud or whatever it is. I don't know. It's a German word. I don't know how to say it. If Czar was here, he could say it. And that's what a lot of people feel about our world today because they're watching, you know, one party dismantle the government and hurt people. So then you have a Republican state where people get hurt and, you know. I read the weirdest thing today. Schadenfreude. I look. I can't say that I know how to say all these words, all right? But I can describe the feeling. It's the whole concept of people enjoying leopards eating faces. It's the same thing. Leopards eating faces is the more American thing. And it was like that whole thing where, like, during COVID, the number one I'm going to talk about, it's Herman Cain. And so that's why we're just going to see more of this. That's the sad reality. I think it was the article that I read today was, and I actually need to see if I can write this person an email. I'm not going to go into this. I don't want to, this is a little, we're getting a little too political, you know. Right, but the whole concept is Genesis. Texas is a Republican state. Bad things happen to Republican state. Therefore, it's funny because bad thing happened to Republican state. And there's a lot of layers to why people are okay with that, because it's due to climate change. You know, Republicans don't want to address climate change, so that's, you know, that's part of it. To me, it's just sad. I mean, it doesn't help that they want to defund NOAA, which is because, and they want to defund NOAA at the to help the privatized weather services. I mean, yeah, that's the whole concept of leopards eating faces. Is that you voted for the leopards eating faces party thinking it's not going to be your face, and then your face gets eaten. And so the people who were against the leopards eating faces party then laugh at you. And that's exactly because they never thought they were going to get their faces eaten. And so this goes back to it was much more prevalent in COVID, right? Where some Democratic people were making fun of Republicans when they died from COVID because they were known COVID deniers or didn't believe in the health care or this and that. And again, I really don't want to open that can of worms. Though, you know, I will say I believe in vaccines. Everybody should get vaccinated, because the reality is this. You either choose when you get sick with a vaccine, or nature gets you sick when nature wants to get you sick. So those are your two choices. And I understand we can never have a study where you can experience what it's like to have an illness with and without the vaccine. That's just impossible, right? So that's an example of, so this is just the same thing like COVID. Here's some Republicans having a flash flood that results in this disaster. But yeah, the most bizarre thing I read, and I think I found, I'm trying to see if this is it. It's actually a really long thing about how basically this is all a result of people having no morality anymore and no care for their collective citizens, which is actually pretty relevant to this, right? Like, one of the reasons, like, I can't, like, to me, this is just a tragedy, right? And probably at least a slightly avoidable tragedy. And so I can't take any joy in this because but this is the thing. This is the thing that they wrote that I just can't believe, but I don't know that I want to say it. You'll have to DM me if you want to see the article, because I don't want to go into this. It's too much. But it goes into this McIntyre guy and how I'll say it, but I'll say it without you'll if you know, you'll know who I'm talking about. He's just an exaggerated version of this kind of person modern society was designed to create. And Democrats, don't feel too self-righteous here. If he was on your team, most of you would like him too. You may deny it, but you're lying to yourselves. Few of us escape the moral climate of our age, as McIntyre himself put it. The barbarians are not waiting beyond the frontiers. They've already been governing us for quite some time, and it is our lack of consciousness of this that constitutes part of our predicament. That is verbatim what the article said. And I'm going to write this guy because for the life of me, I can't imagine that I would be okay with what's happening if Trump was a Democrat or a Democratic version. Like, I can't imagine, and I also can't imagine it being like this because, but that's too much. Oh no, I forgot to shoot my missiles. That's third. That's actually higher than I thought we would get. No, he was going to run as a third party. They recruited him as a third party back in 2000, and then he realized, why am I going to run as a third party? I'm just going to lose. I forget what political party tried to recruit him back in 2000. What was I gonna look at? I can't imagine. I mean, Virus, the problem I have is, okay, like, a Democratic version of Trump, what is he gonna do? Is he going to give everybody Medicare? Like, that's the part that I don't understand, because it's like, I'm trying not to have this conversation, but here we are. Because that's what I see the Democratic, like, and I'm like, and that's bad? We all get health care? Oh, a magic cube. He fought for the stimmy because he wanted to put his name on it. Yeah, like if he's exact, like, I couldn't, not in a million years. I mean, because to me, the equivalent to Trump is Bernie Sanders, right? And like, what would Bernie Sanders do? Raise the minimum wage? Ooh, scary. But I have to write the guy because I'm so confused by that analogy. It is $7.25 at the federal level. Some states have different minimum wages that override the federal level. I just find the world a really confusing place right now. No, it wouldn't, Virus. It only causes insane inflation if and only if every company is already paying the minimum wage. And second, it would only cause insane inflation if your company is 100% dependent on labor as a source of costs. And generally, raising the minimum wage is done in stages, and usually it's staged out so it really doesn't cause that much of a system shock. The minimum wage raising is the industries most vulnerable to the raise in minimum wage are like restaurants and stuff like that. I forget, because there was a study done on one of the places who did this. I think it was California. Because California enacted that fast food minimum wage act. And the reality is, fast food jobs have actually gone up and things are generally better because you're effectively raising the levels of everything. So when people have more money to spend, they can afford things and generally buy more stuff. So it doesn't universe. Now, obviously, you can get into what's called a wage price spiral. And there are, but the thing is, for a what specific price of goods went up, though? And what specific, because I live in Florida, and we have the minimum wage law written into our Constitution now. And things have gone up, but that's because of the supply chain thing. And to be fair, a lot of let me get the gems. A lot of the stuff going up is a cause of effectively businesses saying, oh, inflation is happening, we need to raise our prices. And then everybody accepts that. I mean, Omega, technically, yes, because I'll flip it over. Well, right now it's 0 because I'm in intro sprint. And hey, Scorch, how you doing? I might have forgot to. Rent goes up. Rent has been going up specifically because, I don't know if you guys follow this, there's a company called RealPage. RealPage is effectively an algorithmic cartel that a lot of rental places are using, and effectively what RealPage is doing is they have an algorithm that looks at everybody's proprietary data and then consolidates the rent prices. And again, as the price of rent is determined on the lowest rental in the area, effectively what RealPage is doing is raising all the rents and therefore just consolidating the market and making things go upwards. So a lot of what rent is tied to that, but also we simply aren't building enough housing to cause rent to go down. So those are kind of the two things. So, and a lot of people say, well, it's easier to build in Texas. And actually there was a study that came out not too long ago. I wish I had it on hand. That is now saying that places like Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Miami, etc. Yeah, effectively, RealPage is just a middleman. It's effectively a cartel. It's effectively, instead of letting all the renters come, the landlords come up and say this is the price. The birth rate's going down, yes, but but the population is still growing. So what we're seeing happen is now in places like Miami and stuff like that, that the people that have the property don't want new property. It's like the same thing that happened in California. If you own property, you don't want more property to to be built, because your property is worth more the more scarce houses and everything else are, right? Like you can charge, your property is effectively worth more the fewer houses there are in an area. Yes. That's the other thing. That's the other part of Real Pages. Is it used to be apartment complexes obsessed over occupancy, wanting to keep occupancy as high as possible. Real Pages has inverted that to say, well, if you keep occupancy at 80% and you charge 20% more, you make more money. And don't get me wrong, there's also people that do this same thing, that exploit Section 8 housing in the same way. And it also depends on the type of apartment complex's virus, because where I live, it's all luxury. Everything is quote-unquote luxury apartments, and there's really nothing really that luxurious about them. It's just they call it luxury so they can justify the higher price. It is complicated, and I'm not saying that everybody does this, Shinobis, because obviously it cuts both ways, but a lot of there was a study where a lot of people that did engage in Section 8 housing charged like $1,000 over market. That was in, I watched a YouTube video on that. It was, I forget which one it was, but it was one about how all these companies profit off the poor. Jeez, that's terrible. But the whole thing is yeah, the occupants can be problematic, especially because they can, like, the real issue is if they damage the property, right? Because then you don't have a lot of recourse. And yes, the red tape you have to go through to accept Section 8 vouchers and all that is also difficult. But there are people that do it, and there are people that charge significantly over market because they do it. It's very difficult. What is daft? If they're Shinobis, if they're saying that if that's the reason, then we need to reform the system, because that shouldn't be acceptable for either side, right? And I want to be clear, by no means am I saying Section 8 is perfect how it is. There's a reason that a lot of places don't accept Section 8. It obviously needs to be changed. And we're going to have good examples and bad examples out of it. Yeah, I wasn't saying like again, I'm not saying that Section 8 is perfect how it is, because obviously if Section 8 allows people to do stuff like that, that doesn't work, right? That doesn't make sense. Well, the Daft is like, I know a lot of them, they're called golden visas, but it usually was like $1 million Genesis. And I don't have $1 million, so I couldn't get the golden visa. Maybe that's how that Not Just Bikes guy made it over to Netherlands. I mean, we pretty much are. I mean, I don't know, see, the one thing I disagree with was her solution that if people can't make money, people are going to withdraw from society. That doesn't make sense. It's like one of those things, it's like the concept of only one person being able to invent something. If you look back, every invention almost has at least two people working on it at any given time, and one person gets there first. Yeah, it's... Again, that's the whole problem, Shinobis. It implies the idea that nobody else would try and do what they did, which to me is just absurd. Because the whole thing is, like, you can look back at any company, like, for example, there was the Xerox PARC or whatever it was, and then Apple ripped off them with the iLisa, or the Lisa, and then Microsoft, obviously Windows 95 ripped off Apple, etc., right? Like, you know, there's so much stuff like that. It's like saying there's only one genius in the world that could do this thing, And it's like, no, there's a lot of companies that can do stuff. Like, yes, certain companies become leaders in their field, but look at all the companies that were... I mean, for example, look at Boeing. Boeing used to be the leader in airline manufacturing. Used to do all that stuff. And now, where's Boeing today? The problem with Boeing is when they bought McDonnell Douglas's culture took over the engineering company. And it was that merger that undermined Boeing. And that's what happened with Boeing. Because they went from an engineering company to a sales company. And you can only be a sales company for so long. Same thing that happened to Intel when Intel recently, they went from being a product company to a sales company. I didn't hear about Kraft Heinz, like how that merger went. That makes a lot of sense because I was talking to the lady at Costco who used to know the Heinz rep, because apparently the Heinz rep used to come to Costco. And she was saying that the Heinz rep was really unhappy with the way the merger was going. I didn't know that it was like that. Oh, really? Okay. That's funny. It was just a passing conversation. No, there's still two ketchup companies. There's Heinz and there's another one. Hunt's, I think. But Heinz, you know, I'm not that familiar with Heinz. But I do remember... I actually don't know, Mike. Because that's another problem. You have these companies that are owned by other companies, and you never really know... I mean, you do know if you do a lot of research, you don't know who the real parent company is. BlackRock doesn't... So here's the thing. The whole thing about Vanguard and BlackRock owning all these companies is people not understanding how investing works. The thing is, the way investing works is you open a brokerage account at BlackRock, and then BlackRock holds your shares for you. So it's going to look like BlackRock owns everything, but BlackRock is just executing on behalf of the people that invest at BlackRock. It's the same thing with Vanguard. Oh, ConAgra Foods? Okay. Yeah, that's why I thought Kraft Heinz was a good company. Like, I thought the merger went well because that was the thing Buffett was behind. I don't think they're primary. I think they only own like a 20-ish 25% stake. $26.5. Yeah, I don't know how Kraft Heinz is broken up. Berkshire and 3G Capital. This other source says Berkshire owns 18.3 and 3G owns 24.2. I've never heard of mushroom ketchup. I've never. I don't think I've ever had Dijon mustard. I don't use ketchup on my steak. Why would I put ketchup on my steak? I just eat the steak. It's meat. You don't need to flavor the meat. It's not a sin. I just don't. I don't use condiments with any kind of meat. It's usually good enough on its own. Like, the most I go is salt and pepper. But no, that implies that I know how to cook. And follow directions. And that I'm a chemist. That's a lot of responsibility. I love steak. I could eat steak every meal. I don't, though, because steak is expensive. But I could. I do eat a lot of chicken. I just had chicken before the stream. That's actually why I was late streaming, is I went to get some chicken. They were out of chicken. And, I was very sad. I couldn't believe they were out of chicken. Can you imagine a world where people just run out of chicken? Oh, I always loved steak. I loved steak as a kid. Oh, I just love the taste of steak, man. I used to go to this restaurant that was all you could eat steak. Oh, thank you, New. I don't think I'll be able to make it, but maybe my mom can. I actually don't like mushrooms either, so there's that too. Okay, so we have to buy a pallet of mushroom ketchup. I've actually had that experience walking over an overpass where it felt like the overpass was swaying, and I'm sure it was all in my head, but I couldn't help but feel like it was really happening. Though the weirdest thing that I've ever had was been a couple times where I went to bed and I lay down in bed and my bed is vibrating. For no reason, my bed is just vibrating. And for the life of me, I've never been, it only happens every now and then. And I've never been to figure out what has made my, and like if I'm standing up, I don't feel the vibrations. So I have no idea why my bed was vibrating. And I honestly, the first time it happened, I actually thought it was all in my head. My... I do remember when I would walk over the overpass, I would look over the edge, Genesis, and I'd be like, damn. And of course, there's not like a protective walkway, so I'm like in the shoulder. And I remember looking down and I'm like, damn, if I ever went over this part right here, man, I'm just falling right onto the guardrails. I'm toast if I fall right here. If I fall here, I'm okay. It's a field of grass. I've never been on a glass elevator. Yeah, wait, what's wrong with World of Warcraft? I could talk about World of Warcraft for hours. Yeah, Genesis and I were talking about World of Warcraft. Oh, I didn't know your profile picture was from RuneScape. I didn't know. You know, when you mention the glass elevators or like that, the first thing I think about is it's so weird. So, no, we're not. We're not enemies. You can enjoy your game. I can enjoy my game. It's fine. It's so weird because apparently everybody calls it the SNES now, not the SNES, which is what the pronunciation I grew up with. It's the SNES, and it's so weird to me to hear it be called the SNES. Like, why would you do that and call it the SNES? But anyways, the first thing that you made me think of with the glass elevator is Super Double Dragon in the first level. They have, oh, thank you, New. I will look at it. I'll look at it after stream. What I remember is in the first level of Super Double Dragon, you beat the first part of the stage, then the second part of the stage is in a glass elevator. And so that's the first thing that comes to mind is that, which is ridiculous. But the thing is, they're jumping from one glass elevator to your glass elevator, and you just have to beat them up. That's just the way the game works. I don't understand. Like, how could RuneScape players and Warcraft players be natural enemies? We both play MMOs. I don't see it as a competition. I beat the original Ninja Turtles game for the NES, but I was only able to do it Shinobi's with save states. I didn't actually have that game as a kid. I didn't have the power glove. I didn't know that RuneScape was ever that influenced by, like, I thought WoW and RuneScape were just two different things. Yeah, Genesis, that is the first one. I was able to beat the electrified dam water level without save states. You just had to have, like, the perfect run with Mikey and then switch at the very end, I think, to Raphael. So that's the one thing I do know about that. I don't know that I ever beat the entire thing without save states, though, because it gets kind of like what ends up happening is, I think I don't think it's after the dam stage. I think it's like one of the stages after that. It becomes very difficult to find a place to refill with pizza. Oh, and there is that stupid part where you have to do like a pixel perfect drop. There's actually there's I think two weird spots in the game. There's one where you have to do like a perfect jump to get through this one spot of the water. And then there's the other part where you have to basically tap, drop down these things, and you have such a narrow window to do it to get past this one room. I can't remember. There was like three parts. I watched the whole You Can Beat video games thing on it. And I remember there's one part where it was really hard to find pizza, and there were two basically instant death traps like that. I don't even know. I don't think I like Worcester sauce. I think I would know if I liked it. Because if I did, I'd probably use it on everything, and I don't even remember what it tastes like, so. It's only 21. Okay, all of a sudden, like, all this stuff happened in chat. Hold on. That was really weird. Thanks, you two, for delaying. Oh, they added an ability bar. And raids to... Oh, I didn't know about all that. When was Bebop and Rocksteady? You get Chrono Field. You either Death Wave or Chrono Field. Yeah, you basically will need Chrono Field eventually. That reminds me of what happened to Star Wars Galaxies. They did basically the same thing as Star Wars Galaxies. I mean, it's different games for different people, Omega. So when I played World of Warcraft, and I still play, first, I never found the game empty. Like, I can't even think of anywhere where I would have started in a quote-unquote empty field. I made an orc, so I had an orc and I had a troll priest, and they both started in Durotar. So in Durotar, you immediately get quests to run around, and you basically run around and you kill things. You kill a big scorpion, you take that back. And then you wake up the peons, you kill some other stuff. You go into the mines, you kill some stuff in the mines, you go back to the mines, you kill some more stuff in the mines, you go back, and then you go to the next city. So there was plenty of direction. And there was plenty of things to do. Now, the issue that World of Warcraft had is as soon as like 3 or 4 or 5 people show up into the same area, then it becomes very barren because everybody was killing everything, but that really didn't last that long. You just had to effectively, what I called is getting ahead of the curve, because once you were ahead of the curve, then everything was yours for the taking. See, like, here's the thing. It depends on what you consider the worst aspects of World of Warcraft. Some people absolutely hate LFD. I don't see anything wrong with LFD, and I consider LFD a natural evolution of the game. Some people hate LFR. I don't see the problem with LFR. I see it as a natural evolution of the game. Gemstone? No, that wouldn't have been Gemstone. So, I mean, there's people that complain about retail today that it's so like, you watch Mad Season, he will go on and on about how retail destroyed the social aspect of the game, and everything with all this going to do things quickly undermine the social fabric of the game. And you know, that destroyed the MMO because there's no social fabric in the game anymore. Even though you can go log into Classic and there's no social fabric in that game at all because the internet changed. See, that's so weird to hear you say that, Omega, because one thing I could say versus every other MMO I've played is that World of Warcraft was anything but pointless and empty. That's the part that like I can't comprehend, because everywhere I go there's monsters all over the place. You have clear objectives and what to do. Are you sure you played World of Warcraft? Because what race did you play, Omega? What was your starting race? And when did you play? So you were a gnome. So if you were a gnome, your starting area would have been Dun Murag or something like that. And there's no way there would have been an empty field that you would have run through for hours. Because even if you started in Classic, which would have been before Cataclysm, so before 2010, and so no, I'm just trying to understand, because I can't understand how you could come to that conclusion, because you should have been able to immediately grab a quest from the starting area, and that would have... Now, again, I'm not Alliance. I'm not that familiar with that area. I have done that area once. Yeah, really, Omega, it was either you either were playing before Cataclysm, which was be before 2010, or you're playing after 2010. Because there were that's basically the two phases of this. Then you would have been playing Cataclysm, which would have not been classic, which is even more confusing because one of the things in Cataclysm they did was to effectively densify the world. No, Trial of the Crusader was back in 2009. Sorry, you would have started in Cold Ridge Valley and done Morrogue. Well, to be fair, it's always free to play. That's the other thing that confuses me. It's always free up until 20. The only thing I could think of is you joined after the fact and you went to the new place, which is Exodus or whatever. But even then, I've done the Exodus starting area. Not Exodus, that's... Yeah. No, Cattle was 2010. I'm trying to find it. If you're saying World of War... Exiles Reach. Sorry, Exodus. Exiles Reach. So... No, it added the free-to-play at 2011. So if it used to be you had a 14-day free trial before that. So free-to-play started on June 29th at 2011, and you were capped at level 20. And if it was before 2010, then that would have put you in the classic starting experience. Which would have been, so the classic starter experience would have been more emptier. Because gnomes and dwarves start at the same. I'm so confused how it could be empty because... What class were you? And what do you mean by nothing to do? Were you not seeing any mobs? Did you not have any quests? Because like, if you weren't seeing any mobs, it's... Well, yeah, you had to pick one. You were a gnome. Gnome would have been warrior, hunter, rogue. Did you get into a glitched... Like, the only way that could happen is if you phased into a glitched version of the game. Warlock. See, the weird thing is, when you talk about running through fields, that makes me think of Elwynn Forest, but Elwynn Forest would have been empty. But it would have been empty only if you stayed on the roads. Like, the only way I could see it being empty is if you stuck on the road, because if you stuck on the roads, yes. If you took the roads around, you would never actually find anything, because the way the game is designed is they don't put anything on the roads. That probably would have been Stormwind, and it would have been the stockades. Because you could, the stockades were in Stormwind, and if you glitched it, you could get under Stormwind, I believe. Yeah, except for Stitches. Oh, so if you stuck to the road, that's why. There's nothing... But you should have had... The thing is, you should have started in an area with people right in front of you that give you quests, and then you take those quests and they tell you... you must have played before 2010. They would have told you generally where to go, but not really that good. And that like, if you stuck to the roads, then yes. That's why you didn't encounter anything, because you stuck to the road. That makes sense. So you must have played before 2010. Just because the way you describe it reminds me of, like, people really struggled back then. Especially if you didn't, like, see, the thing is, I had played so many, like, I wouldn't say I had played, but I knew what World of Warcraft was. I actually played the beta of World of Warcraft, so I knew what to do. I still remember my friend was a hunter. What, it's stupid that the roads don't have monsters on them? That was by design so the players could get around without getting killed. Well, you have to kind of go off the beaten path of the road, and it's weird because you should have been starting facing a hub. And again, you're talking about, like, the most developed place would have been Elwynn Forest, which is weird because when you talk about fields, the first place that comes to mind that is fields is Elwynn Forest, because that literally is a forest, and there's fields, and there's farms, and if you stayed on the road, running along the road, you would never encounter anything, because it's basically a farmland, and then you would go into Westfall. Now, Westfall is more open, so you should see the monsters, but they would have been much higher level than you, and you would have died. But yeah, the way World of Warcraft works is effectively you go from quest hub to quest hub. So if you didn't know to look for the quests and find the quest hub, and then you didn't know to go do those quests, and then, because basically the way, like, especially the starting area of WoW works, is you would do all the quests in, like, one side of Dun Morog. And I'm not super familiar with the dwarf starting zone, though I do think you started in Elwynn Forest. In Elwynn Forest, it would have been like you would have been fighting the bandits, you would have killed some wolves for wolf steaks, you would have done a few things, because you would have started right by the Abbey, and then once you completed that, at the Abbey, then it would have sent you to go fight the bandits, and then you fight the bandits, and you get their bandanas, and you turn those in, and then you end up fighting more and more bandits and getting, like, different paraphernalia from the bandits to prove that you were fighting them. And then you would turn all that in, and then you fight the bandit leader, and that's basically the end of quote-unquote Northshire Abbey, which is a subset of Elwynn Forest in the northwest corner. I didn't come into World of Warcraft with outside knowledge for the first time. Again, my starting experience was in... Well, how do you start RuneScape? Isn't the first thing you do in RuneScape start killing monsters? Okay, and so, like, you're on Tutorial Island, what do you do? Because, like, I can describe the starting experience for World of Warcraft from the orc perspective, basically verbatim, and my favorite part... See, this is so confusing to me, because, like, I can go through the orc experience with you. The funniest thing that I remember from when we started the game was my friend made a hunter, and he's screaming in general in all caps, "Where can I buy ammo for my bow?" And it's like, dude, it's in the back of the cave. Okay, so see, like, in the orc starting zone, you start in the middle of the camp. If you turn around to the back of the camp, and I think you're almost now... It's a little hard for me to remember it from Classic, because Classic was such a small amount of time. What do you mean explain? All you would do was go to the people that had the exclamation points over their head. That was all I did, and then they would be like, "Oh, I need you to kill..." Well, it was actually, there was like 5 or 6 quests. One was like, "I need you to go kill the boars," and there's a pan full of boars right there. And then the other guy was... the other one was, "I need you to get these the cactus apples," or something like that. Then the other quest was, "I need you to get some scorpion pinchers." And then basically you pick up all these quests and you do these quests, and then you come back to the center and you turn them in. And see, now they would have a quest to say, "Oh, this is your class train," or "This is where you go." I don't think that was in the original. What do you mean color by numbers? Yeah, and your inventory gets full. So, World of Warcraft, your personal expression in World of Warcraft is determined by what talents you pick and what class you pick. That's where your personal expression in World of Warcraft comes from, because again, it's a class-based MMO, so a lot of your choices of your class are what determine how you can express yourself in game through certain abilities. That's the way it's not like, as far as I understand for RuneScape, you can do any skill at any time. Yeah, see, like, well, I mean, there is some of that in World of Warcraft. For example, if you want to urban mine, you would pick up herbalism and mining, and then you could run around and urban mine. But the reality is, it's not effective for you to urban mine until you're much higher level, because you don't have a mount, you don't have transportation to get from A to B. So a lot of World of Warcraft is more loaded towards the end. I don't consider that garbage. It's a difference. It's not a garbage design to me. It's two separate ways of a way a video game can be made, right? RuneScape is effectively the Skyrim experience, or the Elder Scrolls experience, probably the better way to put it, right? You get your skills, and then you do your skills, and you can do anything you want to do. World of Warcraft is the opposite of that, because it's a class-based design. So you pick your class, and your class is you're going to develop to get those things. And even though and that does limit things, because you pick a paladin. Okay, well, you can never do, like, you can't use a bow as a paladin. You can't do certain things as a paladin. You can never I mean, Genesis, like, we were constantly looking things up on Thoughtbot and stuff like that. I mean, the thing is, there's nothing wrong. If you like a skill-based system over a class-based system, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just two different styles of gameplay. And neither one is wrong. Like, for example, World of Warcraft is effectively what's called a theme park MMO. Which means, much like a theme park, you go to specific areas of the MMO, and you do all the quote-unquote quests there, and the quests are the rides, right? That's how World of Warcraft is effectively structured, and some of the theme park rides are dungeons and raids. And that's just the way World of Warcraft is built. Now, from what again, never played RuneScape, but from what I understand, the way RuneScape works is the opposite. Well, me and my friends, we all tried to be ahead of the curve, so we were using Thoughtbot, we were using, it wasn't Wowhead back then. But see, I was also conditioned, Genesis, by that point with the internet to always look things up, because the best thing you can do is figure out what the overpowered class is, and then you could be the overpowered class, and if you were the overpowered class, then you get all the benefits of being overpowered compared to everybody else. I mean, Omega, it's just two different types of game design. I get it. You don't like a class-based game. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a preference one way or another, right? But that's just how Warcraft is designed. And Warcraft was designed that way because Warcraft was modeled after EverQuest. And EverQuest played like Warcraft. Because have you ever played EverQuest, Omega? You were in Curse and you didn't use Thoughtbot? Wow. Yeah, the thing was, everything was slower. Like... So, World of Warcraft was modeled after RuneScape, and RuneScape was the same way. Not RuneScape. I'm sorry, I mixed it up. I saw Mike say RuneScape. World of Warcraft was modeled after EQ, and EQ was the same way. It was just made to be a simpler EQ. EQ was the same way. It was a class-based game design, so you picked your class. Now, EQ did have a thing where you could do every profession if you wanted to. I thought RuneScape was younger than that. I mean, older than that. Yeah, because back then, Genesis, there just wasn't the concept of guides, and this is something I was talking about, because the concept of guides, so like the whole thing is EQ and really drove the culture. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, Thoughtbot did become more powerful as time went on. I guess Genesis, the thing is, before that, I had friends that played EQ, so it was common to use stuff like Alakazam and stuff like that. So I knew going into World of Warcraft that you would have to use a website to assist you going through things. So like World of Warcraft was based off of EverQuest, though. EverQuest is a similar-ish thing, except the way EverQuest worked was that you just walked out, like you started in a city. We got, I don't know, third? Yeah, we got third. You started in a city, you walked outside and just started killing monsters. That was EverQuest. And EverQuest didn't have instances, so if there was a raid boss up, you had to be the first one to get there and kill it. I mean, the issue is that's not a World of Warcraft problem. The World of Warcraft did not tell everybody to copy it. Everybody copied World of Warcraft because it made the most money. But World of Warcraft was effectively a copy of EverQuest. Because it's the same thing. EverQuest was a class-based game, but EverQuest had literally no direction. Because you would make a character in EverQuest, you would walk outside, and you would kill monsters. Now, for example, when I played EverQuest, because I had a friend I played on his account, I made a character and I wanted to meet up with one of his friends' characters, and he was a necromancer, and I was a warrior. And let me tell you something, you do not want to be a warrior in EverQuest starting out without knowing what to do, but, you know, hindsight is 20/20. I remember having to run for 4 hours through the game to get to the zone he was in. I think I've seen it a little bit. I mean, I don't have anything against RuneScape. My friend tried to get me to play RuneScape, but I was already playing World of Warcraft, so that wasn't going to happen. I can't play a game blind and unspoiled anymore for the most part. There's certain games I can, but it's really hard to, because I know the power of information. I didn't play Asheron's Call, but I knew about Asheron's Call. I had a friend who told me about what was it? Earth and Beyond and City Heroes. But the thing is, Omega, most games were class-based at the time, so that's what World of Warcraft did. And that's why you couldn't just do whatever you wanted to do, because most games are class-based. Like City of Heroes, I think... I played City of Heroes before World of Warcraft. And I played City of Heroes. City of Heroes is a very unique game. It was still class-based. There was a concept of classes. There were tanks and blasters, and I didn't play City of Villains, but it was tanks, blasters. What were the other guys? Scrappers. Because this would have been just briefly before. Because I remember what stopped City of Heroes was, hey, Casey, how you doing? Oh, they were arching, but they were still effectively classes. No, EQ was 10, I thought. EQ was 10? I thought it was $9.99. And then World of Warcraft was 15. Yeah, EverQuest was $9.99, and then it increased to $14.99. Yeah, I was really pissed that World of Warcraft was $15 a month. I will be right back. Yeah, but what all Shinobi's is saying is that EQ used to be cheaper than World of, and I remember World of Warcraft being 1.5 times as much. Yeah, pretty much. I don't remember how much was City Heroes. So, Casey, I believe that's intentionally misleading. So, what they mean by that is the profit from the Sparkle Horse was the equivalent to the amount of profit from StarCraft 2. Now, I can believe that simply because the Sparkle Pony was relatively inexpensive. Like, they probably spent maybe $10,000 to $100,000 implementing creating the mount, creating the store, creating the way to purchase it, and all that kind of stuff. Oh, was? So City of Heroes started because City of Heroes was more than World of Warcraft. I mean, was earlier than, like, City of Heroes released before World of Warcraft. But essentially the issue is it's just, do you want to play a skill-based game where you can make a character and do anything in the world and you just start out and you suck at it? And I don't know how that works in RuneScape because, like, in World of Warcraft, right? Like, you can sort of do that in World of Warcraft. There's a guy, Double Agent, that he's just an herbalist and a miner, and he never left the starting area of the turtle with his Pandaren guy. You can kind of do that in World of Warcraft now. Not really realistically to do that, but you can. But I also understand that it is nowhere near the depth of, like, depth is not the right word, but you don't nowhere near the freedom of choice that you have in RuneScape. But for example, in RuneScape, if you start cutting trees, right? Let's say you want to be a lumberjack. Do you ever get to a point where you have to learn combat so you can cut the better trees? Okay, that is just such a dramatic... Well, wait a second. So you're telling me you can lumberjack trees? Like, you could go cut, like, I don't know RuneScape. So if I wanted to cut the 99 skill tree, right? I can just, like, I can walk up to the 99 skill tree. And again, I don't know, maybe it's a 90 skill tree, but just whatever the top tier tree is. And I can just walk over there and cut it down and not be concerned with the monsters in the area? Okay, that is just such a dramatic departure from how WoW does things, because WoW builds a zone. The zone is designed for a certain level range, and the material in that zone is populated based on that level range. So for example, if you go mining, right, you start out with copper, then you go to tin, then you go to iron, then you go to mithril, right? If you wanted to mine mithril, you need to be roughly level 40-ish, and you go to Tanaris. Tanaris is just one of the zones. Tanaris is the horde zone that I know about, right? And so you would go to Tanaris to mine mithril. But to handle the monsters in Tanaris, you would need to be level 40. But so, like, the concept of... Yeah, you know, I played Ultima Online. That's right, RuneScape is just a reskin of Ultima Online. I've played Ultima Online. Even though, like, I don't remember a whole lot about Ultima Online. Like, I played it, like, well after World of Warcraft came out, just because my friend was playing it, and I played it for, like, I don't know, less than a month or whatever the free month was. I just like... All right, Mike, have a good time with the missus. Yeah, honestly, ever since Shadowlands. What are you gonna get, Orm? I think I'm gonna get more Golden Tower. Yeah, I couldn't play. I heard about UO. But I was too young to play Ultima Online. Oh, congrats on CF1. I don't know what I'm gonna get. But it is interesting that the two different... Like, I didn't know that RuneScape worked that way. Like, I didn't know that you could just go and chop down trees and get to the best trees just by cutting trees, you know what I mean? That like, doesn't work in World of Warcraft. Yeah, if you have CF Plus and Pulsar Harvester, and you have your attack speed up to a certain point, you're basically able to cut the levels of the enemy so much that their health goes down by like to 1/1,000,000th of what it is. Yeah, and Greeny put a video out, and now everybody's doing what the video says. Yeah. It's not a bug. It's just the way it's I assume that why this has happened, and again, everybody knew about Pulsar Harvester before. I assume why it's gotten so strong is that now we have CF13, right? We didn't have CF13 before. I think CF capped at like 9 or 8. And you have to remember that CF got reworked relatively recently, I want to say. And by recently, I think it was October, because remember, before CF was some weird, like there was, I don't remember when the toilet bowl came out, but they remade CF Plus into the toilet bowl. And so, and also then you have to realize they added the extra CF levels just 4 months ago. Okay. And so it took 4 months of stones, 3 to 4 months of stones, give or take, to get to this point. It's sort of like how, it's sort of like what happened with the infinite runs before Elites. Because before Elites, you could have an infinite run if you got permanent black hole. And what was the other thing you had to do? Because as long as you had permanent black hole and there was something else that enabled you to effectively have infinite runs. Oh, it was the mines charging up the way they could, because your mines could charge up high enough that they could effectively one-shot the boss or 1 or 2 shot, I don't know. And then effectively you could have infinite runs. So this has happened before is effectively what I'm saying. Is that basically modules came out and enabled permanent black hole, and enabling permanent black hole enabled that to happen. Because before that, there was no G-comp. There was none of these things. So this is just a repeat of the past, effectively. I feel like Aurum, the answer is going to be really simple. They're just going to cap it and be like, you can only reduce it so much. And once you reduce it that much, it's at the cap. That's a very simple change to make. And then they could say something like, okay, it's X times, it's like, I could see it being capped at like, I don't know. Yeah, it's not effective in farming because of the how you have to go to 1x. But it makes tournaments right now miserable because everybody runs them at 1x. It's like a 10-hour tournament. You have to run it at 1x because you don't know if somebody else is going to do the tournament that way. So it just sounds like a miserable time. They are allegedly fixing attack speed. I think the guy, you can look at the posts of one of the programmers, Jason Byrne, I think it is, and he's talked about how he's like, yeah, I almost have fixed all the issues with attack speed. And the reality is there is no issue with attack speed, right? Because if you have, if the attack speed can only go up to 40 and you have 90, you can just simply multiply every bullet by 90 divided by 40 and just be like, okay, well now all your bullets do 2.25 times as much knockback and damage and this and that. I really don't want to do it. I can't actually, Shinobi's, it's not, I can't do it. I don't have Chronofield. That's the whole thing. I don't have Chronofield Plus. I can't even do it if I wanted to. We had this discussion at the start of the tournament and they're like, you don't have the build to be able to do it. Because I don't have, you have to have Chrono, hey Fat, how you doing? You have to have Chronofield Plus and you have to have it to a certain level. Which I don't have Chronofield Plus. And you also, you do need the CF Plus. No, this is Colony. This is the typical thing I play. I'm doing good. How are you? Yeah, I'm at like 75k. So I can't do that strategy. Shinobi's, the thing about stone packs is it's not a simple answer like that. It's not a straightforward answer like that. The reality is, you technically need stone packs to advance because other people are buying stone packs. If nobody bought stone packs, then none of us would ever need stone packs because we would all progress at the same pace of the tournament, right? But if people buy stone packs, they get more, they get more faster. Oh, I hope you had a nice vacation. Were you able to run your tournaments while you were on vacation? So, like, if we had a moratorium where everybody agreed to stop buying stone packs, then then everybody would just be fine with the tournament winnings. It would just take longer, but the fact that stone packs exist means somebody's going to buy them, even if we have a moratorium, because the temptation of getting it's the temptation of getting more power over somebody else is just too powerful. Yes. But I don't think it's a top 1,000 that do it, otherwise I would be sunk. Oh, nice. And yeah, the stone packs effectively are a diminishing return. That's hilarious, Fat. I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, I mean, the reality is there's no guarantee that buying stone packs would help you compete. I don't know. It's a complicated situation. I just don't buy stone packs because I can't afford it. It's very simple. I have been tempted to buy stone packs, but then reality gets in the way. Because, like, for example, I would love to buy stone packs and just get my GT up to 14, get the max duration, get the max bonus, and just be like, I am done with Golden Tower. That would be so nice. But as we talked about, I need 24,000 stones to do that. And that would be like 6 months of stone packs. I don't know that there have been any developments on the Guardian. I believe we are expecting... I thought they were going to rebalance it or something. I really don't know, Shinobis. Right now, I just keep buffing Fetch. That's all I've been doing. Comparison is the thief of joy. Fat, of course, the mobile game is worth millions of dollars. I think next season will be interesting because we'll finally have another choice. I don't understand what's not to like about the guild shop, because yeah, I could just buy everything, so I don't see a problem with it right now. You know, that's a great question. We're going to look at that right now, because I forgot to look at it. I meant to do this before the stream, but, you know, then everything happened. Okay, now I have the menu. That's better. I mean, is any currency that ends up in a shop going to be unique? Probably not. I mean, it's already reliant on other guild members, so it's just reliant on only 70-ish% of the guild participating. Oh, yeah. I honestly would prefer it to be looser, to be honest, because, yeah. Just keeping a full guild will probably become difficult. Who is it? Who is it, No? Could you say something? Could you post their name in the guild channel? And also, we have no idea what version 27 is going to bring. Personally, I would just like to see more things make it to Xwalla. So, for example, I'd like to see the event pass, where you could gift event passes in Xwalla. I hear about the other game modes, Genesis. I just have no idea what that would entail. How does Xwalla have added tax? I thought Xwalla was cheaper. Well, I don't think it would be. See, one of the things I would say they should do with Xwalla is, because you know that one event pass is 15. They get 70% of that. They get 1050. It would be nice if they sold 2 event passes on Xwalla for like 20 bucks. The issue with having something like a raid boss, and I'm using the raid boss kind of loosely, but that's kind of what you're describing, is either the raid boss is balanced around every... Like, I don't even know how you would balance a raid boss in this game around everybody's tower, right? Like, you could do something with the raid boss difficulty is based on lifetimes stones, which would be really interesting. But then that would, the reality of that is then it would be, okay, now we have to have a 0 lifetime stone account, because if it's balanced around your lifetime stones, I guarantee if you had a 0 stone account that just farmed a ton, they would be able to beat the raid boss very easily, right? So that would be the winning strategy, and then that's kind of lame, right? That's not really great. The alternative would be to make it easy enough that, you know, somebody in like mid could just beat it, like solo it, and then it's like, okay, well now what's the point of that if it's just so easy for somebody to solo? It would be so difficult to balance that right without making guilds into this thing where it's like, well, now to be in the guild you need to be able to do X% of damage to the raid boss, otherwise we can't clear the raid boss. The only way I could see them adding that mode, Genesis, is if they added the mode strictly for fun with no reward, right? Like, it was just like a fun thing you could do with your guild. I'd be totally behind that. But then it's a fun thing, like, what's the point if there's no progression from it? We end up in that. I wouldn't mind if they added it and it was like, this is never going to have any rewards. This is just for fun and bragging rights. Because I do feel like I do feel like games don't do that enough, right? Like, they don't let things be just for bragging rights. Everything has to have a reward, because otherwise part of the player base is going to complain, there's no reward. Why would I ever do this content? Which, to me, like, I really miss it when people did stuff for the challenge of doing things. If that makes sense. I feel like Genesis, if they added a fun mode, a fun mode like that, they would need to have offline rewards. So it's like, well, if you do this like fun mode thing, you at least, we're gonna allow, you're not gonna get any coins from it, but we will allow you to get the offline coins. It would be kind of interesting if there was, like, I don't know, it can't be interesting because it would have to be so simple that anybody could complete it. That's the universal problem. That is Leroy Jenkins. So you are thinking about an Upper Blackrock spire right before the Whelp Room. They're having a discussion about how to conquer the Whelp Room. The way the Whelp Room works is there are eggs all over the Whelp Room, and you don't want to step on the eggs. If you step on the eggs, you summon the whelps, and whelps can then, if you move around, then whelps can summon other whelps as they chase you. So the whole principle behind Leroy Jenkins is they're talking about how to handle that room. And then effectively Leroy just runs in, aggroes all the whelps aggro even more whelps, and then he runs out and everybody dies. Leroy Jenkins! My favorite, though, is World of Warcraft. That is my absolute favorite parody video. Leroy was actually a question on Jeopardy! So that would be Corrupting Blood, and that, or Corrupted Blood, and that would be from ZG. The last boss in there is Hakar. He would cast Corrupted Blood. If you were a hunter and you got Corrupted Blood on your pet, you could dismiss your pet. You could then take your pet back to one of the main cities, and then when you summon your pet, Corrupted Blood, the way it works is it spreads to nearby targets. So you would summon your pet, the Corrupted Blood would get on the NPCs. Now the way NPCs work in World of Warcraft is if they're out of combat, and they take damage, they instantly heal to full. So the thing is, you would get it on the NPCs that would take the damage and instantly heal to full. And so then, as soon as that happened, then they would be able to effectively hold the disease and then spread the disease to the other NPCs in the town. And then eventually every NPC in the town had the disease, and if you're a low-level player, you walked in there, got the disease, immediately died, because again, this is a level 60 ability. And then what happened is, effectively, the CDC studied it, because basically you had two factions in World of Warcraft. You had one faction that was intentionally spreading the virus back to the cities, because they thought it was hilarious to kill all the lobies. Then you had the lobies who started avoiding cities and other high population dense areas because they knew they could be killed by the virus if it was spreading. And I missed that. I didn't play World of Warcraft during this time. This is the one thing I wish I could have experienced organically, because even though I would have been pissed off, I would have been immensely pissed off trying to level an alt or something because some asshole brought the Corrupted Blood to the main city. At the same time, it was such a memorial event. Like, looking back, I would have been like, that's crazy. It's kind of like the same thing. They kind of redid the event for the pre-patch of Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King, they had a thing where you could actually get the poison grain and get the zombie, and then you could be the zombie and attack the city and stuff like that. So they did like a light version of it. And then as it got closer and closer to Wrath of the Lich King's launch, they made effectively the plague like stronger and stronger, and you lasted longer and longer as a zombie. I thought it actually could last pretty long, because if it got on the right NPCs, and I think it had to be like level 50 or higher NPCs, they effectively would heal in place and never die. The Baron Bomb, like basically the Baron Bomb is just Baron putting the bomb on a hunter's pet. The same thing, the hunter dismisses the pet, so they have the bomb debuff. Yeah, I thought the guards could spread it. And then you could go basically to the auction house, summon your pet, and then your pet would explode and kill everybody in the auction house. I also miss that. And this is also one of the things, this is like back in the earlier internet when people were a lot more mischievous. Oh, really? Like I said, I didn't live through it. I just heard that the NPCs could get it. And then if you were in town and the NPCs got it and they gave it to you, then if you were a low-level character, you were basically dead. And that the study said that, like, people just stopped going to town because that's where all the corrupted blood was. Because it couldn't last anywhere else if the guards weren't high enough level. Like, for example, any other outpost town, the guards were like level, they were like the level of that area, and the corrupted blood would just kill them. Hey, Clouded! I'm glad to hear you love me so much. And you never fake a sick day at work, you're just sick of work, and that's an excuse to use a sick day. Yeah, I missed out on the whole thing, Genesis. I just remember reading about it. I'm like, that is so wild. The server lag was just a problem in general back then. Genesis, do you remember bosskillers.com? I mean, that's what we called it. We called it mental health days. No, it was Boss Killers was the website, and so information exchange was so slow back then that if you look it up, it's bosskillers.com. You can look it up on the Internet Archive, and you can actually see how hard it was to get strats. They would have like, here's $100 for a strat to kill Jaden in the Sunwell. Here's $75 for a strat to kill Muru, because the culture of EverQuest and how secrecy was so important, because their bosses weren't instances, that it was really hard to have people just write up detailed strategies on how to kill these bosses. So Boss Killers to me is like my favorite website to look at for that time capsule of where people just didn't make videos, didn't share strategies and stuff like that. I haven't seen Lunity. I've watched Charm. If you know who Charm is, she has so many Warcraft parody songs. I thought there was one in Black Temple that was a guild killer. I thought Gron was a guild killer. I thought like Kael'thas, Vash J. I thought they were guild killers. I don't think Archimonde really had a I don't think Archimonde had a reputation for being a guild killer, but I could be wrong, because I do remember that, what guild was it? What guild was it? Oh. What? Oh, Kael'thas. You mean Kael'thas. At first I was like, Kel'Thuzad? So... What was twins? Oh, the Eridar twins. For some reason, like the first twins I could think of was Twimps. And that was an AQ40. And I know you're not talking about Twimps from AQ40. And then I was like, I forgot about the Eridar twins. I never rated Sunwell. Jeez. I remember Sunwell was just insane, and I just, like, yeah. My friend's guild was, like, he was farming. The thing is, like, we had a split where part of the problem with being on a PvE server on that time, Genesis, was all the good players were on PvP servers. So I definitely was not able to, like, raid as, you know, that well, because I remember one of our guilds left because they're like, all the best players are on PvP servers, so we have to go to a PvP server if we want to raid or do anything. And so they all left. And, like, what happened is my server, like, slowly but surely started turning more and more Alliance. I just remember everything was super intense back then. Like, you couldn't raid if you didn't have your X number of shaman that were on, because the way Bloodlust worked back then was Bloodlust wasn't raid wide. You had to make a group. You'd pull your shaman in, he would Bloodlust. You drop the shaman out, you put another shaman in, he would Bloodlust. You drop that shaman out. You need like 5 shamans to cycle in and out of your Bloodlust group. Oh, do they have drums too? I don't remember, because BC I did Karazhan and that was like it. Like, BC raiding was like so difficult compared to like classic raiding. And I was also working at the time. So I like had to like, I couldn't do both. Actually, it wasn't that I was working. Sorry, that's wrong. That was Wrath of the Lich King, I think. It was that all the guilds that used to raid on the weekends, like, people stopped raiding on the weekends during BC on my server. Because it used to be people would raid on the weekends, and so I was like, great, I'll raid on the weekends. This is great, works out great. And then people just stopped doing that. Oh, the drums when they were leatherworker specific and you had to do the drum rotation. I forgot about that. That's because that was back then when they wanted every profession to give you some kind of combat perk. So like for enchanting, you could enchant your rings. For jewel crafting, you got like a special prismatic gem you could use. For herbalism, I think you got a heal. For mining, you got extra stamina, all that. And then, yes, you had to do the freaking leatherworking rotation. I forgot about that, because you had to have everybody have the freaking drums. And everybody had to be leatherworking and some other... Was it leatherworking and engineering? Oh, shoot, I died. Oh, we got the nuke done. Oh, that's kind of hilarious. I didn't get far enough to complete that. That's funny. It's... Oh, you know what I should do? I don't know if they fix this. We're gonna find out, I guess. Oh yeah, totem twist. Jeez. Yeah, I don't miss not raiding during all that. When Blizzard started making it so you had to manipulate your professions, I was really like unhappy with that. As I picked up jewel crafting on my main. Or that might have been in Wrath of the Lich King. That was a big gamble. I don't know if that's gonna pay off, but... Okay, we got enough for that now. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Oh. Oh, okay, I do have enough for that. Okay, well, we fixed all that. Okay. I don't even remember. But yeah, it's actually pretty late. I probably should get going. I kind of lost track of time. I need to do a few things and then get to bed. But that was fun. We at least got a full farm run, so that's kind of neat. And then I gotta get more coins. Oh, actually, I don't know if I talked about it, but... No, it's too late. The store's closed, dude. The store closed an hour ago. If I wanted to go to the store, it would have been an hour and a half ago. I did start doing the battle condition 10 because I had the 400 whatever. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get the battle condition 10 done. So I did slot that in. That's why I'm broke. But once again, as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. And if you have any questions, feel free to say something in the comments. I do always look forward to your questions. And as always, thank you again. And I hope you have a great night and happy farming, everybody. Goodbye, and I'll catch you guys all next tournament if I don't stream earlier.